Welcome to the Jag Bros podcast. It is week 2. We are previewing the game of the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Cincinnati Bengals playing in Cincy. Both teams are undefeated, 1-0. Hopefully the Jags can finish the Sunday with a 2-0 record. We are 3 diehard Jags fans. We are brothers. So I'm along with Joey and JT. My name is Jack. We're going to break down offense versus defense, talk about keys to victory. We are going to talk about some score predictions, save that for the end. But overall, right now, are you still riding the wave of the Jags 1-0 start to the season?
Oh, I'm riding high. I am loving all of this content, both nationally and locally, that is talking about the Jaguars. It's a victory week. Oh, it just feels so good, especially as a Gator fan as well, to actually have a team you can cheer for and that is exceeding expectations is certainly good.
I'm super excited for week 2. I know a lot of people kind of mark this as a loss, but after seeing us play in week 1, a lot of people are reconsidering and
watching the Bengals play in week 1.
Exactly. The Bengals aren't great at the beginning of the season, so we're catching them at the right time. I mean, it's lining up for us. I just saw as well that the Bengals guard, Lucas Patrick, will be out this week with a calf injury. So everything's kind of pointing to the Jags.
Hey, why not the Jags? This could be our time. Let's go on the road and let's get a potential victory. And so each one of these breakdowns, we try to give you a little bit of a preview of the game and the matchups to be watching for. So we'll start on our offense versus their defense, and then we'll flip it. Our offense was able to score 26 points last week against the Panthers. Our run game looked awesome with 200 yards rushing. Passing game had 178 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception by Trevor. We're going to be going up against what some people say is the worst defense in the league, projected to be for the Bengals. They played nicely against the Browns, but the Browns are also one of those teams that could be one of the worst teams in the league. They still gave up 290 yards passing to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was picked off twice, but they did seem to clamp down on the rushing attack for the Browns. So what is our expectations of our offense, and what are we hoping that we're able to do against potentially a weak defense in the Bengals?
Though they may have been better at run defense last week, but we also have much better running backs than the Browns do. They don't have that great of a run offense, and hopefully our pass game is going to be better than the Browns. So hopefully we can take advantage of this Bengals defense.
There should be a lot of holes. This is a super interesting matchup. Both the Jags and Bengals underperformed last year. The Bengals were left out of the playoffs. They had that dreadful start to the season. They won a bunch of games in a row to close out the year. But they put a lot of the blame on the defense. They fired their DC. They went out and got Al Golden, who had a very nice run at Notre Dame, was under Marcus Freeman as their DC. So it's going to be interesting because you have 2 teams that should have pretty high-powered offenses with the Jags and the Bengals, but a lot of question marks at defense. You both have new defensive coordinators. You got a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys on both defenses, but this is a matchup for the Jags offense. You want the passing attack to perform much better. You want Trevor to be well over 200 yards. I mean, you said it. Joe Flacco threw for almost 300. Why not Trevor hit that 300 mark, something he hasn't done a ton? And then BTJ, look for him to have a massive bounce back game. Only 1 catch in week 1. Jerry Jeudy had a nice game against the Bengals. The Bengals don't have that lockdown corner like the Panthers do in J.C. Horn. So feed BTJ early, feed him often. Let's do something we didn't do a ton last year and see Brian Thomas Jr. go for a couple big plays in that first quarter.
This could be a big game for Travis Hunter as well. As you pointed out, Jerry Jeudy had a pretty big game. So a smaller slot that's really quick could really torch them up. So see if Travis Hunter may not also have a massive game this week.
It's so funny. Joe Flacco, 31 for 45. 45 pass attempts for him, 290 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Good for him for continuing to play at the high level that he has been playing in. It's interesting, 10 receptions between the 2 tight ends that the Browns have against the Bengals. But that's also what he wants to do. He also jumped off the ball to the running back, Dylan Sampson, 8 times for 64 yards. But again, this is what the Browns want to do. I don't necessarily think that's what we want to do. I think the big takeaway, though, is the Bengals defense does not have the ability to take away your fastball. So whatever your fastball actually is, in this case for the Browns, it was dumping it off to your tight end and to your running backs over and over and over again, very successfully. I completely agree with you, Jack. They do not have the horses to run with BTJ. They do not have the horses to run with Travis Hunter. So as long as we're not turning over the ball a ton, I think we're going to be able to do whatever we want to this Bengals defense. And so, yeah, it could be a really fun shootout type game.
One more thing that's going to be interesting for the Jags offense against their defense is going to be the big matchup, Trey Hendrickson versus our offensive tackles. Hendrickson is the superstar of their defense. He has been top 3, top 5 edge rusher in the NFL the last several years. It's still crazy that the Bengals always have a hard time paying him, but the Bengals have gone all in for one more year. They have a 1-year deal with Hendrickson. He's going to be the guy to watch. Don't let him go off, find a way. Brenton Strange looked phenomenal blocking. Make sure you have him back for some double blocks or chip and then go for a route. You got LaQuint Allen, who's a great pass protective running back. You may see him a little bit more, but whatever you do, don't let Trey Hendrickson get to Trevor. Let's see if that offensive line, who performed very well against the Panthers, can they continue to keep that going into a game where, yes, they do have a star edge rusher in Trey Hendrickson.
So that's our offensive side of the ball. Let's switch to the defensive side of the ball. So last week we saw Jacksonville really play maybe close to their peak performance defensively. Excellent. They forced 3 turnovers, 2 additional turnovers on downs, 1 other turnover that was called back with Dewey's interception, pick 6 that was called back. They outplayed the Panthers on that side of the ball. But this is a completely different animal, a completely different offense, and an offense that also underperformed the week prior. So if we look at the Bengals, Joe Burrow actually only had 113 yards passing with 1 touchdown. Chase Brown had 21 attempts with only 43 yards, so averaging 2 yards a carry. That's horrible. Joe Burrow was under duress multiple times, sacked 3 times. A lot of that was because of the one-man wrecking crew that Myles Garrett is. But ultimately, the Browns have a ton of talent defensively. They're very well coached. They're very well thought of. And it's a divisional game. You tend to see defenders play better in a divisional game than the offensive side. So what are you guys expecting to see from our defense? How concerned are you? Or are you coming into this pretty confident?
Well, it was just released. The AFC Defensive Player of the Week was Foye Oluokun.
Let's go, Foye.
So hopefully this defense keeps what they did last week and builds upon it. Love seeing the turnovers. If we can get some pressure on Joe Burrow, the Browns showed you that he is vulnerable. He's not just a guy who always throws 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. He can be locked down. Josh Hines-Allen had 9 pressures last week. Love to see some of those turn into actual sacks. And then Trayvon Walker needs to have a bounce-back game. I didn't see him as much against the Panthers. So this Bengals O-line isn't great. And we just talked about the injury to the guard. So hopefully we can really put together some blitz packages like we did against the Panthers against this Bengals team.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm extremely nervous when it comes to this side of the ball because who you're going against. Yes, the Bengals did not perform well offensively week 1, but I said in the last episode, I guarantee you every Bengals fan, Jamar Chase is sitting there, Joe Burrow sitting there circling this game at home saying, okay, this is our get right game. This is this is the most talented pass offense in the NFL. Jamar Chase came off last year winning the Triple Crown in terms of receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, leading the league in all 3. He had a terrible week 1. I assure you he is saying, whoever's going to be on me, whether it's Jarian Jones or Tyson Campbell there on the outside, he's like licking his chops for that. This is a game where you're right, Joey. The edge rushers have got to get to Joe Burrow because you can't just give him all day to pick you apart because he will. It's going to be a lot on the Jags pass rush. And can the secondary do enough to not get torched in this game for me?
Yeah, this is a very big concern for me. Scheme wise, like if you actually watch a lot of the Bengals offense and the plays, they were just off on a couple of big plays that completely flipped the script, and it could have been 31-16 in a lot of ways. I think they probably want to throw the ball more than run the ball. What they did, and the Browns also made some hero plays defensively. So while yes, the Bengals offensive line can be had, to me it was a little concerning that I thought our defensive line left a little bit desired, especially from the pressure and the sack perspective for against Carolina. So yeah, I think Jamar Chase has a potential big day. I think T. Higgins has a good day. Mike Gesicki, I think have a bounce stat back. And I'm still not convinced that we're great at covering running backs out of the backfield, especially when Chuba Hubbard went for a 30-yard touchdown last week. So yeah, like I said, on the offensive side, I think Jacksonville's offense is going to have a lot of success. Personally, I think the Bengals match up poorly with the Jaguars defense in the sense that they should have a lot of success as well.
I think we could see a lot of Travis Hunter on our defense also. He didn't play that much against the Panthers, with the Bengals looking to pass it a lot more. Jarian Jones performed well, but not great against the Panthers, grading out not very 60th in PFF. So I would look towards maybe Travis Hunter playing a lot more two ways in this game than he did last game. Hopefully he can really lock down T. Higgins or Chase and is able to take one of them away.
If he does that, then first off, incredible to be able to do that week 2, really week 1 on the defensive side, if you will, for him, because consider he didn't play hardly at all on the defensive side last game. That would be amazing, and that would you had to start to really question how low the ceiling actually is for Jacksonville on the defensive side, and hey, are we actually better, significantly better than what we thought we might be this year?
I think the big thing for the Jags defense is, number one, can you get after Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow is a guy who tends to take a lot of sacks. He got sacked 3 times in week 1. You just look at his career, he's a guy that takes sacks. He's not as mobile as a lot of other quarterbacks in the NFL, but he rarely makes mistakes in terms of interceptions. He's had several seasons where he's in single digit interceptions. Last year, where he threw the ball 652 times, he only had 9 interceptions. So for a Jags defense that's coming off a 3 turnover, 2 turnover on down game, if you want to keep that turnover streak going, you're probably going to need to find a little bit more on stopping them on 4th down, and potentially a strip sack fumble would just be amazing. But can you get in Joe Burrow's head early? Because that's where he's vulnerable. And then the second place they're vulnerable is they just start slow. JT, I think you have a big stat on how well the Bengals do in week 2.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Danny Ziebelman, texted me earlier this week and said, I didn't realize this, but the Bengals have 6 straight losing streak for week 2. So we've chronicled the fact that Bengals consistently start slow. Getting them early in the year would be huge. Here's our chance that they have a win. Let's go get one here in Cincinnati.
This game is absolutely for the taking. I think that it would be an incredible way to go into week 3 against the Houston Texans. But let's get into the keys of the game for us to take this victory from the Bengals.
Look, offensively, one of the things that we chronicled several times last year is how many times we would be on their side of the territory and come away with 0 points, not just 3 points, but 0 points. It was laughable. Almost every game, it felt like there's 5 to 6 drives where we'd be in plus territory and come away with 0 points. So that is going to be my stat. I think that number has to be 1 or 0. Probably 0. And look, we kicked 4 field goals last time, which talks about the fact that we were able to get in field goal position. We overcame penalties. I'd like to see us execute where there's 1 or 0 times where we're inside their 50 and coming away with 0 points.
You got to score. You got to score when you get the opportunities, ideally scoring 6 over 3. So, yeah, I mean, let's scheme up some more incredible plays like that BTJ 9-yard touchdown run. That was amazing. I'm going to stick with the passing offense. I think the Bengals up front are not bad. They've got an okay defensive line. The secondary is where it's just like a sieve. And Trevor Lawrence, can he take that next step? This is another opportunity to have a big game now on the road, week 2 in this new Liam Coen system. I think he needs at least 250 yards. Passing and running. He had some nice runs in week 1, some good third down pickups with his legs, 250 plus yards. But man, I would love to see over 300 yards from Trevor on Sunday.
I think Trevor is going to be the key for this offense. Last week was Travis Etienne. I think he'll have still another big role to play this game, but Trevor needs to have a better game and is going to be the key into dismantling the Bengals defense and scoring, because we're going to have to score, I'm going to say, upwards of 25 points.
I think that's a good target, Joey. And so that brings us to the defensive side. And what I'll say on the defensive side, sticking with stops and starts, I think we need to be able to 3 to 4 times, probably 4 times, can we force a turnover on downs, a punt, any type of change of possession. So can we stop them from scoring on 4 times? If we do that on defense, I think we're winning. I think we're winning more often than not.
Mine's going to be similar, and it's going to be turnovers. Again, Burrow doesn't throw a ton of interceptions, but can that secondary get 1? You just came off 2 nice interceptions, one that deflection to Foye, then Jordan Lewis, that interception to close the game. Maybe it's Jordan Lewis going back-to-back interceptions. And then I really like a potential strip sack. I don't know if it's Josh Hines Allen or Trayvon Walker, someone. Maybe Mason Smith. We didn't see him in week 1. Can he get out there in week 2? Joey, I know he's a guy you're high on, and he finished 2024 strong. Can he break through that potential interior offensive line? The Bengals is always pretty bad, and get a sack and potentially his first forced fumble, but 2 turnovers at least for the Jags defense. Would love to see that. And I feel like that gives us a really good opportunity if our offense is playing well on Sunday.
I'm going to say that the key is going to be our safeties this game. They played super well against the Panthers. Eric Murray got the shout out from JT. I thought Dewey Wingard played really well, had a pick 6 that was called back, but was also just everywhere on the field. They're going to have to play one of their best games coverage-wise against this really hard offense that passes a lot. They're going to have to be able to communicate, and there's probably going to be a lot of motion and a lot of crossing patterns. So it's going to be up to them, and how well they play is how well this defense will play.
I agree. And just speaking of our secondary, Joey, you called this out earlier. Jarrian Jones didn't play super well on Sunday. He's got to play better. He was 60th, as you said, in lockdown percentage from corners in PFF. I did just want to say PFF in that same thing had Campbell as tied for 5th with a 71% lockdown percent, and Jordan Lewis tied for 9th. Obviously, the task goes from pretty easy in terms of wide receivers to incredibly difficult. But if they could find a way, those 2 guys and then Jarrian Jones stepping up, the ceiling all of a sudden for the Jags, JT, becomes so much higher.
All right, boys, it's that time of the week. Let's make our score predictions. Who's going first?
I can go first, and I do just want to say, as always, make sure you drop your score predictions with us. We gave a shout out to Duuuval T87, who had the closest. We'll continue every week to give a shout out to whoever gets the closest. We're 3-0. All of us picked the Jags to win week 1. This is a game. I love the offenses. If you're a fantasy football guy, I think you can grab a lot of the players on both teams here. I think the Bengals offense has a good bounce back. I think the Jags offense takes another step forward. I love Trevor Lawrence in this game, and I think it's going to be a close one. The spread is 3.5 in the Bengals' favor, but I have it going the other way. Joey, you said it all last season. It's been in my mind all day that you know who wins close games? The better coach team. And I think Liam Coen is a better head football coach than Zach Taylor. Bengals fans don't even like him that much. Jags fans love Liam Coen. I think this is a game where the Jacksonville Jaguars get 30 points and your Cincinnati Bengals only get 28. Give me a 2-0 start for the Jaguars.
Woo! Let's go, Jack.
That gets me fired up. I'm going to be right there with you with a Jags victory going 2-0. It's a close game, and it is up to Cam Little to win it for us. We win 27-24.
Cam Little, baby.
Let's go, man. Let's make it 3 for 3 with Jaguars victories. I'm also going to split the difference of the score predictions that you have. I have Jacksonville 30, the Bengals 27, 3 high scoring game predictions, 3 scoring predictions with Jacksonville on top. Let's go, baby. 2-0, bringing home the victory and staying on top of the AFC South.
Let's go, Jags. Man, I'm so fired up for this game. Winning that week 1 was awesome. Let's just keep it rolling. Let's keep Liam Coen as the only coach with a career undefeated record. Whew, I cannot wait for Sunday to get here.
This is going to be a fun one to watch. I can't wait. It'll be the first time to see everyone on the road, how they perform there. I think it's going to be an amazing game, one that may have some highlights for the national news. Hunter, hopefully, and a few others. I can't wait for the Jaguars to put our names back on the map. So go ahead and subscribe and listen to us next week. We will break down the game after it's done, talk about who did well, where we could do better, and how we match up against the rest of the AFC and AFC South. It's going to be a big game week 3, so you won't want to miss next week. But make sure you watch the Jags play Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central in Cincinnati. We're going to go there and win this game. So we're going to go ahead and close out this podcast.
Duuuval.